Hi everyone, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So today I want to talk about, Ruby's sister Bonnie's video she recently made in response to all the hate she's getting, which I have to be honest with you, I don't understand it. I don't follow her, and I'm not real familiar with all of it. So you're just going to have to bear with me. I'm just going to be speaking from the heart and we'll just see where it goes. But I want to talk about my situation with a family member who was ABUSING, her child. We did everything, me and my mother, and my relatives, we all did everything we could to try and protect that child. We made phone calls, we talked to lawyers, we did everything we could to protect that child. And we literally accomplished nothing. We couldn't do anything. And we tried our damnedest, aside from breaking the law. And that's the only thing we could have done. And then what? Help her from prison? No. So that's kind of all summed up my story. We tried to help a ABUSE child and did everything we possibly could, everything we could think of, everything we were advised to do, and we couldn't do anything. We reported it, we did everything. You won't believe, one time I called and I reported for verbal because she was calling her slut and whore, and she was 18 months old, I think. The woman at DCF when I called, or at the CA hotline when I called, said, well, she doesn't really understand what those words mean anyway. Okay, so she grew up. She is severely damaged. She's had several children from several different men, and she has given all of them up because she can't take care of them, because she is still, in my opinion, so brutally damaged from what she went through as a child. And she did the same things to her. I didn't witness her with her other kids, but she did the same things her mother did to her other daughter, to her first child. And again, we tried like hell to get that kid away from her. And it was just a vicious cycle. Okay, so we know firsthand what it's like to be in a family with someone, with a child who is being abused by someone we're supposed to love. And we tried everything we could. We literally did. We tried everything. There was nothing else we could do except abduct the child. And I certainly wasn't in a position in my life where I was comfortable doing something that crazy. So, but yeah, that's my story. And so I know about that. And now I know that members of Ruby's family, her parents and her brother, have spoken out in support of Ruby and wrote the judge letters asking for leniency, or, speaking on Ruby's behalf and stuff. I know that. Bonnie did not do that. And this video is going to be about that at the end, about the letters, but first we're going to talk about Bonnie's video, and we're going to go through clips, and I'm going to discuss each clip.
Why are you deleting comments? We are not stupid. We know you're deleting comments. You're not hiding anything from anyone. If you weren't guilty, you wouldn't be deleting comments. You know we're right, and that's why you are. I'm deleting comments because you teach people how to treat you, and the comments are speculation. The comments are people not having all of the information, and so naturally they fill in the gaps. And I've done that myself. When I don't have all the answers, my mind tries to fill in all the gaps, and all you do is create nonsense. And the reason I understand this is because I know you're trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. You're trying to figure out how something so horrible could happen when it should never have happened in the first place. So I understand why people are doing the things that they're doing. I'm deleting comments because you don't get to treat me the way you're treating me in the comments.
Guilty of what? Did I miss something? What is she guilty of? What is she guilty of? What? What did she do? I don't understand. I really don't understand. And again, I'm not a Bonnie fan. I don't really know a whole lot about her. I know what I know as it relates to this story involving Ruby. Like, I know about her videos she's made previously and all of that, but like, I don't follow her channel. I don't approve of family channels, so I don't watch them. So yeah, I just, what did she do? What is she guilty of? Please tell me. I guess I really don't understand why they're going so hard against Bonnie. I don't understand that. And maybe you understand it. And if you can kindly inform me in the comments, don't be a jerk, because that's just going to get you screaming into the void, and you don't want that. But what did she do? What did Bonnie do? And don't say she didn't do anything to help those kids, because she, like I did, she did everything she could legally do. You know? And I know people don't love Bonnie's parenting style, but she's not Ruby. She's not Ruby. Bonnie didn't write a letter to the judge in support of Ruby, so I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
You're not saying anything about what's going on. That means you don't care.
How does that mean she doesn't care? How does that mean she doesn't care, really? What people really mean is, you're not giving us what we want, so you don't care. You're the enemy. That's what people really mean, because they want juiciness. They want drama. In this traumatic situation, people still are begging for drama. Now they're hiding it under the, I care so much about these kids. They're hiding under that, but they really want drama. They want juiciness. They want tea. They still want that. Despite the fact that this is an extremely serious situation, people really want juiciness from Bonnie, and they're not getting it, and they're getting pissed off about that. And that's so ridiculous. She doesn't owe anybody anything. She didn't do this. Ruby did. Ruby did it. And she doesn't owe any of us anything either. She owes her kids. She owes the legal system. And you want someone to beat up, and you can't get to Ruby, so you're trying to get to Bonnie. And it doesn't make any sense to me. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Some people are just ridiculous.
My brain can't even put together its own thoughts. There is no words. And I will not talk about them. For so many different reasons. But on top of everything, I will not talk about them. Because there is no one closer to being my own children than these kids. And yes, I knew everything that was shared in the media before the media knew. And I don't know what's worse, finding most of it out all in one day. You only know what's been approved to share with the media. All of those blocked out spots in the journal, all of the journals that she had that didn't necessarily pertain to the criminal case, all of those, you know a fraction. You know a fraction. And everything that I learned was just in little pieces, just little pieces along the way. So every day I have felt like this. Every day I have felt haunted. I did not see the photos beforehand. So for all of you that have been sending them to me, you really have done something there. You're doing your due diligence.
Again, Bonnie doesn't owe anyone to talk about this. She doesn't owe it to anyone to discuss this. You just want juiciness. You just want tea. You have no idea what she's seen. You have no idea what she's seen, because I promise you what we saw, the released documents, photos, videos, all that, what we saw is nothing compared to what the police actually have. Because they didn't release all the evidence. They didn't release everything they have. And look at all those redacted pages of Ruby's journal. We haven't seen half of what they have. And the photo, the very disturbing photos of the children, I promise you there are probably hundreds of those photos. We only saw a smidgen. Okay? You have no idea what this woman has seen. And everyone harassing this woman is you're sick. You're sick if you're harassing her. You're sick. You're diseased in the mind. She's aware of what happened. Okay? She is aware of what happened. She didn't do it. You people are dirty freaks. It's just dirty. It's dirty. It's Ruby is the bad guy. Ruby and Jody are the bad guys. Okay? I don't know what Bonnie's done to anyone to hurt them. I don't know her past. I don't know her story. But I know she didn't do this. She didn't encourage this. She didn't brainwash anybody into doing this. She didn't do this.
Me, I. The only thing you care about is yourself. This is not about you. Get off the internet. I 100% know who the victims are. I 100% realize that I was not the one tortured. I see so many comments. Trigger warning, this is difficult to watch. Trigger warning. Or if you need help after seeing this, make sure you get help. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. All these compassionate strangers for each other. But if I say anything about how it's affected me, I'm selfish, I don't care, it's all about me. I know I'm not the victim. I have been directly affected. I can't think of a way that I'm not affected by it. And I know that people will just rip that apart. That's just the reality of it. That's the truth. How can you pretend like nothing is happening and go on posting? I think it's just my defense mechanism. Being away from everyone and everything and turning my phone off is an escape. And that feels good momentarily at times. There's literally nothing I can do. And the reason I move forward is because I have hope that those kids, they showed a lot of fight. They didn't just stop fighting and they kept their fight in them. And if they can do that during their torture, they can come out the other side. And I think and I hope that they will have a normal as they can. This will change them forever. All of them. All 6 of them. Just because all 6 of them weren't in that room. I want the very best for all of them. And they're all gonna need a lot of help.
And she's allowed to feel how she feels about this. If she doesn't say anything, people bitch. If she says something, people bitch. But we, as strangers, can express our feelings. I know I've expressed mine. I'm very distraught by this situation. But how dare the aunt of these children express a feeling? How dare she be upset about this? Only we can be upset about this. We strangers. but she can't be, and she can't speak on feeling upset. We're all strangers. We don't know any of these people. We don't know how they feel. We don't know what they think. We don't know anything about these people. And you cannot guess how one family member is because of what Ruby did. We know Ruby is evil. That is one fact we know. I mean, you could just look at her cold, dead eyes and see that. And we're going to talk about that in a later video.
I want to be very clear that I do not support Ruby. She doesn't need mercy. She doesn't need justice. She needs a jail cell. And I can't even think beyond that. I believe in justice and mercy, and I think both of those come in time. I think that the mercy needs to lie at the feet of the children, not at Ruby's.
See, she doesn't support Ruby. She doesn't support Ruby at all. She thinks Ruby deserves prison. And I believe her. I believe that she feels that way. Yes, family members are supporting Ruby, but honestly, if they really support Ruby, they would expect her to pay for her crime. That's supporting her. Look, I support you, but you have to pay for your crime. You know?
I'm so self-conscious about saying anything about myself because the only thing that has been jammed down my throat is how selfish I am for saying how it's affected me. But strangers on the internet can talk about how this has affected them and they're so sad and I can't believe this is happening, but I feel like I'm not allowed to say any of those things.
Again, I agree with her. We strangers can talk about how we're affected, but Bonnie can't. Bonnie can't talk about how this affects her. And again, if she doesn't talk about it, everybody hates her. And then if she does talk about it, everyone hates her. She can't win for losing. And I'm aware of how Bonnie has come across in her past videos about this. I've even commented before, it's all about her. I've even commented that before, but stepping back and looking at it and trying to look at it from her perspective the best I can because I don't know her, that's the only angle she can give because she wasn't involved. Remember, she was cut off from these kids for several years. She can only feel what she feels, and she can only express how she feels. I mean, she can only speak on her experience. And I'm sorry if that makes you mad or upsets you. We shouldn't be harassing her because she's not behaving the way everybody thinks she should. Because one person thinks she should act one way, another person thinks she should act another way. I say, do you, Bonnie, be who you are. Like me, like when I made that video about Dylan Mulvaney, this is a terrible example, but there are people coming at me from both sides. It seemed like there were 4 sides, and just, you can't say this, and another one, you can't say that. And I'm like, you know what? You can all be offended. You can all be offended because I'm just going to do me. I'm going to say what I want to say and be who I am. And if you don't like it, you can suck it. And that's how I feel. And that's how Bonnie should feel too. Bonnie has a different approach than me, but I'm just saying.
I physically get ill when my kids accidentally get hurt. I physically get ill when I see their feelings get hurt. I feel like I go into panic mode a little bit. And as soon as I do, all I can see and hear are the hundreds of comments that I'm deleting saying, "You're just like her."
She's just like Ruby? Really? That's weird. That is a weird thing to say. She's just like Ruby? No. 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 That is false. That is false. So, again, I want to go over the letters of support from Ruby's parents and from Ruby's brother. Okay? So, let me pull it up here. Oh, look. Hold on. My mother-in-law is texting me. Let me see what she's... Sorry. she's just checking on Marshall because he had his surgery. Okay, 73 photos. What? Okay. All right. So this is from Chad and Jennifer Griffith. So I'm just going to read the letter to the judge from her parents. Dear Judge and Parole Board, this was written on February 11th, 2024. We are Ruby Franke's parents. We are currently serving a full-time mission in Serbia. Before Ruby became involved with Jody Hildebrandt, she was a wonderful mother, daughter, sister, and member of the church. All she ever wanted from the time she was a little girl was a family to love and nurture. When she began having troubles with her teenage son, Chad, she sought out a family therapist, counselor, to help them. We noticed a shift in Ruby's thinking the summer of 2020, and by that fall, she cut all ties to us, her siblings and close friends. For 3 years, what brief communications we had with her, she accused us of either things that never happened or she grossly exaggerated the events that did. She was delusional. She was so deeply brainwashed, we could not recognize her. We received a postcard from Ruby 2 months after the terrible news of the children. We read her tender apology and humble acceptance of accountability. She expressed her gratitude for being incarcerated and felt the mighty wake-up call was a huge blessing. Since then, we have seen a return to the Ruby we once knew. Her thoughts and views are her own now. Her love, appreciation, and commitment to her family is stronger than it has ever been. Ruby is more concerned about her eternal salvation than her imprisonment. Her testimony of the Savior and his atoning power means everything to her. As her mother and father, we plead with you to show her as much mercy as you possibly can. Hopefully, in time, she will have a relationship with her children, and they will remember the mother she once was to them and will find it in their hearts to forgive her. This would be the greatest healing balm of all for them. Sincerely, Chad and Jennifer Griffith. Okay, there's a couple points I want to make in here. First, wasn't she mistreating those kids before 2020 on her channel? Like threatening to cut the doll's head off, not feeding them, threatening them with withholding food. Wasn't that before 2020? It just seems like it was. I don't know. But I didn't watch that channel, so y'all let me know. Her thoughts and her views are her own now, but weren't her own thoughts and views pretty warped as far as parenting goes? That's just what I remember. And maybe that happened after 2020, but I don't know. And as far as her having a relationship with her children, I don't see that ever happening for Ruby. I have noticed an uptick in people going no contact because it's for their own mental health. I believe people are being stronger, being permissed to be stronger, to stand up against their bullies, even if their bullies are their children, are their parents. And I don't think she can hope for a relationship with her children. And I think that if this judge does this job right, she's going to be in prison for 30 years. That's my hope. Not because not because of my personal feeling towards her, but because I think that that's what people who mistreat children deserve. And I know that 15 times 4 is 60, but the most she can do is 30. And I think the same thing for Jody. I think they both deserve the maximum. And I hope they get it. I don't know when we're going to get the final word on the final sentencing, but I hope we do hear something, because right now we just know what the minimum and what the maximum they'll serve will be, but we don't know what the actual number is. And I want that number. I want to know, is she going to serve 4 years? Or is she going to serve 10 years? Is she going to serve 30 years? I want to know. Hopefully she'll at least be locked up long enough for these children to all grow up and never have to deal with her ever again. I'm also concerned about Kevin getting custody, because, we know what we know about him from the channel and his behavior. Like, yeah, I know in the last few months, maybe his behavior kind of improved a little bit as far as realizing what Ruby has done. And I know we've got that video interview, or that interview with him, that I haven't gone over that whole thing, but I do want to speak on that as well. But like the interview he did with his attorney present when he was talking about being the exorcist and stuff, that's some weird stuff, and we need to talk about that. But I don't know where I don't know where any of the minor children are right now. Hopefully they're not with Kevin. Family court is a different matter, and we're not going to be privy to any of that information. But I hope those kids are being protected, because they need to be protected from Kevin too. I firmly believe that, because I don't think he has the backbone to raise children. Ruby wore the pants in that family. You know what I mean? So, but, you know, I don't know. He filed for divorce, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, now let me read this letter from her brother. Dear Judge and future parole board, Ruby Franke is my older sister by a year and a half. Growing up, we did a lot together and had a lot of shared experiences. Throughout her life, Ruby has always been an achiever and becomes recognized by authority figures. Her school teachers regularly commended her as she consistently earned high grades. She was praised by her piano teacher as she excelled in piano performance as well as competition. Oh, well, let's not send her to prison then. We worked at a call center together where she received numerous employee recognitions. Ruby always jumps in with both feet, whether swimming, participating in the high school marching band, or as the school jazz band pianist. During her career on YouTube, she often told me that her desire was to spread the message that mothers are important and that mothers have strength and nurture in their children. She didn't nurture her children, though. She didn't. She brutalized her children mentally, at least what we saw. I never had any concern for her and her children, and I was impressed with how generous and kind she has always been to my own children. Ruby and I both joined the Connections program. As per usual, Ruby absorbed all that was taught. She recognized the instructor, Miss Hildebrandt, as a woman who stood in authority and was recognized by the state of Utah as someone who was a properly trained and licensed professional. Like many authority figures in Ruby's life, Miss Hildebrandt saw Ruby's potential. She saw that Ruby was easily trainable and had the ability to influence others. She saw the millions of followers Ruby had worked hard to acquire on the YouTube and Instagram platforms. Many of the teachings from the Connections program were reasonable and good. Unfortunately, as I later discovered, that is what made the program so dangerous. If it was entirely crazy, it wouldn't have had any influence. The program was, by all definitions, a cult. Miss Hildebrandt was the sole source of what was right or wrong and discouraged people from making their own life. Oh no. Uh-oh. Hold on, part of this is missing. Let me see if I can find it. I'm so sorry. My apologies. Oh no. I don't see it. Well, okay, so I found an article that kind of adds on to it. He said he witnessed, this is the brother, numerous marriage relationships separated through Miss Hildebrandt's encouragement, including his own for a time, because couples in the program felt a looming threat of divorce. So that's kind of what the letter said. It came as no surprise to me that as soon as Ruby was removed from the fog of the cult, she recognized she was wrong and was ready and willing to unfeignedly take responsibility for the wrong she had done. Okay. She didn't steal money, okay? She didn't smash someone's windshield. She brutally tortured and ABUSC'd her children until at least one of them was literally on the edge of death. Okay, this is a serious thing she did. You can't do that to children and just walk away. Do they not care about these kids? The children's grandparents and the uncle, do they just not care about the children? Because this isn't about Ruby being Jody's victim. This is about the children and punishment for what she did to the children. And I feel like they're glossing over that. They're not even addressing that. And they're just like, Ruby is Jody's victim. I do believe Ruby was a little bit of a victim of Jody's, but she had it in her to begin with, and we all know it. We all saw it, and we all read that journal. And what she wrote in that journal, that was her. That was her. Sure, Jody's influence was in there, but that was her. She allowed these things to happen, and she made these things happen to the children. So I don't care what kind of bullcrap her mom and dad and her brother are trying to feed the judge. She is evil. I mean, look at this. Look at this. I'm going to insert this picture right here. Look at those eyes. Those are shark eyes. I don't want to insult sharks. Those are cold, dead, heartless eyes. They really are. I've seen eyes like this before on two other people. One was a YouTuber, or is still a YouTuber, that I'm not going to name. I don't like to do that, even though y'all always figure out who I'm talking about. But she has those cold, dead eyes too. And she is a cold, cold, mean person. And then there is someone else who is just in my life who has the same eyes. And she is not a decent person. So anyway, that's it. That's all I have to say on the matter. I want to work on my video with the pictures, and I'm going to get that out to you as quickly as possible. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, talk about Bonnie, talk about those letters from her parents and her brother. I don't want to step on those people, but they are wrong. They are wrong. If they really care about her, they would want her to be accountable and do her time. You do your time for the crime. And she deserves the maximum for what she did to those children. You don't bring children to the edge of death and just walk away from it. There is no leniency for her as far as I'm concerned. I wish I was the judge. Okay. And I'm sure most of y'all wish you were the judge too. Tell me what sentence you think she should get, what her final sentence should be. Because I think that the maximum sentence is good enough. I think there should be more. Because this was attempted murder. Okay, so I'm going to go, and I will talk to everyone later. Bye.